Hi everybody, it's Dave and Olive. Thanks for joining us here at Book Blather, where we talk a lot of fantasy, horror, sci-fi, including graphic novels and YA, but we mix it up with a lot of other types of fiction and non-fiction as well. Before we get started, if you're new here, you haven't yet subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you get notified the next time Olive says it's okay for us to upload another video. We're doing a few videos this week, but this video is about a particular book that's getting a lot of chatter on BookTube lately. Okay, the book we're talking about today is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by LaRocca. We're just doing a quick video about this particular book because a little bit of a story behind it, but this book is getting a lot of chatter lately. It's known for being a little bit shocking, as I'm sure is a complete surprise from the cover. Now, there's been a lot of mixed feelings about this book circulating around on BookTube. A couple of booktubers whose opinions I respect a lot did not like this book. One of which is Juan over at Plagued by Visions, who did not like this book, but knew I wanted to read it, so after he was finished with it, was kind enough to send it to me. In there, he had a nice little note that said if I disliked it as much as he did, if I wouldn't mind passing it along to someone, the next person to try, and to go ahead and keep it if I liked it. I did like it, but I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to pass it along. I'll buy another copy to support the author, but I'm going to pass this along to another booktuber, whichever one of you would like to read this next, so that we can keep this going. In part because I think this book maybe needs a little more discussion, which I'll talk about in a minute. So very quickly, because we can't say too much about this book, it's funny watching all the booktubers lately trying to talk about this book because it's so short and things happen so quickly. People want to talk about it, but they can't really say much or they'll spoil it. But essentially what this story is about is there are two characters, Agnes and Zoe. And you find out immediately in the first pages of the book, it's not a spoiler, that Agnes turns up dead. And the story is told, it's set in 2000, and it's told in epistolary format, where you read the story by reviewing the emails and instant messenger discussions that went back and forth between these two characters, which was what internet social communication was back in 2000. And it starts out with Agnes posting an ad to sell an antique apple peeler on an LGBTQ plus message board. And Zoe responds, and they end up developing a relationship. And so it follows this relationship that between these two women that escalates and becomes very intense and goes nowhere good very quickly. And there are a couple of shocking things that happen. It's been characterized as a very shocking tale, and it's not crazy. There are a couple of very shocking events that happen, in addition to just the horror of the relationship that develops. But a lot of people disliked it. Thought that while there was some attempts at symbolism, that that wasn't really fleshed out, and that there was really these things were just being done for shock value, and that wasn't really my take on the book. I thought there was an awful lot to unpack in this book. I think there was a number of different things. As this, the author set this story back in 2000, which, being the old guy that I am, I was very much involved in the very different online social world that there was at that time. There was no Twitter, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, right? We were talking about emails, chat rooms, MUDs, things like that, where you converse with people and develop relationships with people, but it was much more anonymous, and you still developed relationships, people still had emotions, but you really didn't know who people were, and almost always didn't even know what they looked like unless you took some extra special steps to find that out about somebody. So, and so I think it kind of, I think Eric LaRocca said it in 2000 for that reason, to kind of explore how these relationships developed online very differently at that time. And then it explored a number of things through the women's relationship. Desperation, sadomasochism, obsession, and so there was a lot of a number of different themes like that, and there was different types of symbolism. There was definitely some little instances of religious symbolism, which I think maybe weren't really fleshed out that much, but there was also some really major metaphors in here that I think were not really cheap attempts at symbolism, that these were really representative of the types of behavior and the types of things that are produced by a relationship of this nature, as opposed to what happens in a relationship of a loving nature, and that these, or a different type of loving nature, and these, I think this analogy, if you will, using these few metaphors like this, I think were pretty significant and pretty powerful, in my view. So, like I said, I think different people got a lot of different things out of this, and I can't really say anything more than that without spoiling it. It's very short, and it gets into the meat of the action very quickly. So, as I said, I think a lot of different people got a lot of different things out of this, and I think this is a book that's actually worth a lot more discussion, but it is impossible to do that without being spoilery about it. So, like I said, I'm going to pass this book along, and it would be great if a few more people read this book. And like I said, I'm going to buy another copy to support the author anyway, but I think it would be great if a number of people actually read this individual copy. And then maybe afterwards we could have some kind of spoiler live stream roundtable or something, where a bunch of us can talk about it and talk about, I think, a lot of the things that it would be valuable to try to unpack from this story. So I'm going to pass this along. If you're interested in this book, just leave a message in the comments below. Leave a message anyway if you've read this or you want to read it. I'm interested in hearing any thoughts about it. But definitely leave me a message if you want me to send you this book. If more than one person leave a comment that they want it, I'll just pick them out of a hat, and I will send this on to whoever I pick out of the hat. And then, like I said, maybe we can end up having some kind of live stream discussion on it down the road, where we can make it spoiler and put up the warnings, and we can have an in-depth discussion about it. So that's it for today. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.